And so in this style of riding, you want the horse with the aids, meaning directly underneath where you are. One of the imageries that I like to keep in my mind when I'm riding that I found very helpful is to imagine that my center has a beach ball in it, or a big weighted medicine ball. And I'll turn him a little bit actually to make it easier to see. So when you are riding, you want to keep your center as congruent with where you want the horse to be as possible. And for most people, their center is a place that gets crunched up or misplaced. In other words, the center might be over here, but you want the horse to go over there. So this imagery really helps me with that, because you want your rib cage, your belly, your hips to be as open as possible. So in order to fit this big medicine ball in there, you've got to really open up your stomach. Most of us are so used to sucking our stomach in or crunching it that this might feel a little bit odd. But think about there being space in here for that big medicine ball to sit. It's going to sit between your ribs and inside of your pelvis in that cavity. So it's kind of living right in here. So it needs to have the room for that to sit. So if you're sitting like this or like this, it's going to get thrown out or crunched, okay? And then that ball is going to roll at the rate that you want the horse to go. So I imagine when I want the horse to go forward, when we're standing here, that ball is stationary, and it's completely stationary, right? So when I want the horse to go forward, I start to imagine the ball getting ready to roll. So it's going to roll. It's not rolling yet because that would be too far ahead. Now it starts to roll, and it's essentially rolling at this rate. Okay, so it's rolling. That means that my hips are moving at that rate. And as I want to lengthen the stride, I'm going to roll the ball slightly bigger and slightly more forward, just one revolution at a time. Because if I jump the ball ahead, then I'm actually going to be over there and my horse will be behind the aids. Now I'm getting enough energy available to be just about ready to trot. And the trot is a little bit bouncy, right? So that ball is now rolling up and down, more like a little bit of a bouncy ball. When I'm getting ready to walk, I'm going to smooth out the roll and send it more forward. In other words, trotting is a little bit like dribbling, and walking is a little bit more like an egg shape. So that's kind of what I imagine. And then your canter is more of an oblong egg. So I'm going to show you that again. I'm going to roll the ball more forward. Now the trot's available. That's when I'm going to start my little bouncing up and down like this. Now I'm going to walk. And then when I'm getting ready to slow the ball, little, and now I settle it. Here's what a lot of people do where they don't follow the horse with their seat. Okay, so the horse goes, they get left behind, then they have to catch up. Then they try to make the horse trot, get ahead of the horse, and then when the horse slows, they're ahead and then they're behind, and then I get the horse to stop, and then they're all over the place with the weight, right? So that medicine ball imagery really helps me to make sure that I'm with each step, rolling on the horse but not ahead of or behind, following each step he makes, slowing a little, making the ball a little bit smaller. It's getting a little bit heavier, and settle the ball. And what I found is all horses are very receptive to that. Some of them who are used to being overaided might take a minute to figure it out and be waiting for heavier aids to come, but all horses inherently understand that feeling. And so if you have a horse who seems to be totally tuned out to your seat, it's really important that you breathe through it, take a minute to kind of get that going. Don't worry if everything isn't going right. Just keep focusing on that ball, and I promise the horse will tune into that and start to pick that up and be like, oh, I really like this. And you'll find that they're a lot softer, a lot more directable, and a lot more comfortable to ride. Because what that does is it gets your body integrated into the horse's body and gets the two of you moving congruently. And horses really, really like that. It helps them to breathe better, it helps them to focus better, and it helps you be a friend to the horse's back.